shocking silence swept through the backstage area as Jungkook's voice cut sharply through the noise, his tone low yet laden with a gravity that instantly froze every movement around him. What could possibly make Jungkook speak with such weight during what was supposed to be a glamorous celebration at the Calvin Klein Fashion Week? And why did the atmosphere turn tense the moment he mentioned that woman? Who is she? And why did his words strike Jin so deeply that witnesses claimed he stood motionless, eyes clouded, before quietly breaking into tears? This was not the poised, light-hearted Jungkook the public is accustomed to seeing on international stages. Observers described a sudden shift, as if he was no longer the radiant figure of the runway, but a man confronting something intensely personal. The conversation reportedly began with casual remarks about the event, but then abruptly narrowed into a subject that stunned the staff nearby. His expression hardened. His tone became almost surgical. It was not the language of publicity, it was the language of truth. What was it about this woman that made Jungkook abandon all traces of performance and speak as though the room had vanished around him? Sources close to the backstage crew whispered that the air grew heavier the moment her name surfaced. This woman had been seen briefly with Jungkook at the Calvin Klein Fashion Week, an image that went viral, yet remained unexplained. Until that moment, many dismissed her presence as purely professional, a fleeting encounter in the orbit of fashion elites. But Jungkook's tone that night suggested something far more complex, something hidden behind layers of controlled silence. Could this be why Jin's demeanor shifted so violently upon hearing the exchange? Did he recognize the name? Did he know something about her that others did not? And did that knowledge ignite the tremor in his expression? Witnesses said Jin, who had been waiting anxiously for Jungkook's return to Korea, stopped speaking entirely. His shoulders tightened. His eyes fell to the ground, as if the words had knocked the air from his chest. He did not intervene, did not question, did not breathe out any sound. And then, quietly, almost imperceptibly, his eyes glistened. What truth had he just absorbed? Why would Jin, known for his composed and resilient nature, react as though an invisible weight had crushed him from within? What connection does he have to this woman that could provoke such raw emotion? The mystery deepened as more staff began recounting subtle details from that night. Jungkook reportedly emphasized that what he was saying must stay between us. That single line, overheard by a trembling stylist, sent ripples through the team. It was not a publicity briefing. It was a confession. He was not defending a rumor or crafting an image. He was revealing something that seemed to carry personal consequence. And yet, the exact content of his words remains sealed in whispers, leaving only fragments of reactions to piece together. Why would Jungkook risk unveiling something so delicate in a setting surrounded by cameras and industry insiders? What urgency drove him to speak then and there? The tension did not dissipate when Jungkook finished. In fact, the silence grew sharper. Staff avoided each other's eyes. Phones were lowered. Conversation stopped. Jin did not move. Those who saw his face claimed it looked as though he had just recognized a secret he had feared for months. And when Jungkook finally walked away, head lowered, Jin quietly left the room, his hand covering his mouth as if restraining a flood of emotion. Is it possible that this woman is linked to an untold chapter in their shared past, one that only Jin and Jungkook understand? Could this explain why Jin has seemed restless in recent weeks, waiting almost obsessively for Jungkook's return to Korea? Observers have noted that Jin's behavior shifted even before Jungkook left for the United States. He appeared distracted, scanning messages, pausing mid-conversation, and reacting sharply whenever Jungkook's name surfaced. Some insiders speculated it was merely concern for Jungkook's safety amidst international chaos and media attention. But after this backstage incident, that theory now appears thin. Jin's anxiety was not about the event. It was about something or someone else entirely. Could it be that he had anticipated this conversation? That he knew Jungkook would eventually speak about the woman and dreaded what that revelation might unleash? The public knows almost nothing about her. No official name, no profile, no confirmed connection. She appeared only for seconds at Jungkook's side during the fashion week, then disappeared into the shadows of speculation. Yet, the way Jungkook's tone collapsed from charm into severity suggests she is far from a casual acquaintance. And if Jin's reaction is any indicator, this woman may hold a position in their personal narrative that has been deliberately concealed from the public eye. Could she be connected to a past controversy buried from headlines? Or is she linked to a decision that fractured trust between the members behind the scenes? The weight of Jungkook's words that night continues to echo even after the lights of Calvin Klein Fashion Week faded. Staff reportedly avoided speaking about it afterward, as if fearful of awakening something fragile and volatile. Jin, however, has not been able to mask the aftermath. He was seen at the airport days later, visibly emotional while awaiting Jungkook's flight back to Korea. His usual controlled posture crumbled, and at one point, witnesses claimed they saw tears streak silently down his face. Why would the memory of that conversation follow him so relentlessly? Did he feel betrayed? Protective? Or does he fear that the revelation, if made public, could shatter something the world still believes is intact? There are whispers that Jungkook's tone carried not just seriousness, but finality, as if he was not merely describing an event, but declaring a decision, a turning point. If this is true, could that decision involve distancing himself from someone, or choosing to stand by her despite the consequences? And is Jin's visible grief a sign that he disagrees with Jungkook's choice, or that he understands its necessity all too well? The absence of clarity has only sharpened the sense of danger surrounding the situation, as though the silence itself is a warning. This entire episode now hangs like a shadow over their return to Korea. Fans who once focused solely on the glamour of Jungkook's appearance at the Fashion Week are now dissecting every frame, searching for clues. The subtle glances, the tension in his jaw, the flicker of Jin's eyes when the topic arises. Could these be silent signals of a deeper fracture? And if Jin truly knows the truth about this woman, why has he chosen silence rather than denial? Is it loyalty? Fear? Or does he understand that some truths, once spoken, cannot be contained again? The unanswered questions have escalated into a storm of speculation. Who is this woman? And why does her name freeze a room? Why did Jungkook speak as though every word carried consequence? And why did Jin respond as if the world beneath him had collapsed? What invisible history links them all to her? And how long has it been hidden from public eyes? Could this be the real reason Jin appeared unable to wait for Jungkook to return? Because he needed to see for himself if Jungkook had changed his mind or sealed his path forever. And most of all, what did Jin hear that night that broke him enough to cry in silence until Jungkook addresses the